Have you ever stopped to wonder what really motivates a man? I'm not just talking about work, money, or status, but that invisible force that drives his choices, that shapes how he connects, and even how he loves. Today, I'm going to open this black box of the male mind, and you might just discover things no one has ever told you before. Since the beginning of time, men have carried inside them an almost biological need to be useful. Picture a hunter returning to his tribe with food. The sparkle in his eyes wasn't just about victory, it was about recognition. That sense of being indispensable shaped, and still shapes, the very essence of manhood. Today, instead of hunting mammoths, he hunts goals, career achievements, or even the chance to impress you on a simple date. The drive hasn't disappeared, it just moved to a different stage. When a man feels like he's contributing, that he's being seen and valued, he expands. He becomes more confident, more willing, more affectionate. It's like watering a plant. Praise and validation are the water that fuels his strength. But when that recognition is missing, insecurity creeps in. He might keep pushing, but deep down a void begins to form, as if his existence no longer has meaning. And that's when his motivation starts to fade. And it's right along this line that we move into the next point. Where does this deeply rooted need to be strong and useful actually come from? From an early age, boys hear phrases like, "Boys don't cry," "Toughen up," "Be strong." Small words, but they act like invisible bricks in building their identity. Little by little, he learns that showing vulnerability is dangerous. This idea shapes how a man expresses himself. While a girl can talk about her pain and receive comfort, a boy often gets silence or even scolding. The result? He turns sadness into anger, because anger is allowed, but tears are not. It's fascinating how these messages get passed down through generations. The grandfather who told his son, "Man up," now sees his grandson repeating the same pattern. It feels natural, but deep down it hides the fear of being seen as less of a man. This cultural weight isn't just psychological, it even affects how a man deals with love. If he was trained not to show weakness, how can he truly open up in a relationship? And to really understand how this plays out, nothing works better than looking at personal examples, because that's where these messages reveal their true power. I remember when my son fell off his bike. He scraped his knee, and before he even cried, he looked at me, waiting for my reaction. If I had said, "Get up, boys don't cry," he would have swallowed the pain. But when I said, "It's okay, I know it hurts," he allowed the emotion to come out. With my wife, I've lived the other side of this coin. On days when I felt like a failure, she used simple words like, "I believe in you." And suddenly, my motivation came back as if I had taken a brand new breath of life. That's when I realized, recognition is a man's fuel. And I also remember my grandfather. A tough man, he almost never smiled. But every time he told the story of how he provided for the family during the drought in the countryside, his eyes lit up. His pride lived right there, in the memory of having been needed, of having been a provider. These examples show how male identity is stitched together with threads of usefulness, strength, and recognition. Each generation teaches, in one way or another, the same lesson: to measure value by what you give, not by what you feel. And that's where we hit a striking difference between how boys and girls are raised, something that explains so much about what we see in adult relationships. If a little girl cries, someone usually runs to hug her. That gesture sends a powerful message. Your feelings matter, you will be comforted. But when a boy cries, he often hears, "Stop it, be a man." That difference may seem small, but it's like planting two seeds in very different soils. One grows believing she can express vulnerability without losing value. The other learns that vulnerability equals weakness. As life goes on, this disparity shows up in relationships. Women tend to seek dialogue and emotional support, while men often shut down or respond with silence. Not because they don't feel, but because they were never taught how to show it. It's as if society created two separate languages, one for girls, rooted in feelings, and another for boys, rooted in strength. The real challenge begins when those languages try to meet inside a relationship. And it's in adolescence where this contrast becomes even more visible, because that's when a young man starts craving validation in an even stronger way. In adolescence, every gesture feels like a test of worth. The boy who insists on paying for popcorn at the movies, or who works hard just to have money to take a girl out, isn't just trying to impress. He's showing the world that he can be useful and a provider. This craving for validation is almost visceral. He doesn't just want to be there, he wants to be needed. That's why sometimes he goes overboard, paying more than he can afford, doing exaggerated favors, or even taking silly risks just to prove his value. If you pay attention, every achievement at that age is followed by a kind of display. Showing off new clothes, a phone, a borrowed car, all of it carries a hidden message. Look at me, see my worth. It's at this stage that many boys experience, for the first time, the impact of female praise. A simple phrase like, "You're amazing," can leave a deeper mark than 1,000 silent victories. But what happens when that recognition doesn't come? What happens to a man who doesn't feel the return for everything he's trying to give? When a man doesn't feel recognized, a dangerous emptiness begins to grow. It's as if he starts to believe that no matter how hard he tries, it will never be enough. That feeling of being half a man opens the door to negative choices. Some try to fill that hole through affairs, not because they love less, but because they're searching in someone else's eyes for the validation they can't find at home. Others turn to vices, whether it's alcohol, drugs, or pornography, trying to numb that heavy sense of uselessness. The problem is that none of these escapes bring lasting peace. It's like trying to fill a leaky bucket. No matter how much you pour in, it quickly runs out again. And the harder he tries to compensate, the further he gets from real motivation. This cycle can destroy not only relationships, but also a man's self-esteem. He begins to believe he's not worthy of love, only of being used. And that's a crushing weight to carry alone. That's why one simple act, something that might seem almost trivial, can become the key to breaking this downward spiral. Praise. Have you noticed how women are constantly receiving compliments? "You look beautiful. I love your hair. That outfit looks amazing on you." But for men, silence. It's rare to hear, "You look handsome today," or "I admire how hard you work." That silence creates a void. A man starts to believe that he'll only be noticed if he does something huge. But the truth is, just like a plant needs water, a man's heart needs daily recognition. Complimenting isn't flattery. It's acknowledgement. It's saying, "I see what you do, I value what you bring." And believe me, when it comes from the woman he loves or hopes to win over, the effect multiplies. A sincere compliment can turn a heavy day into fuel to keep pushing forward. It's like a breath of life in the middle of exhaustion. It might look small, but to him, it's enormous. And this is exactly where the secret lies, something many women still haven't realized. How to use this knowledge in a practical way, not to manipulate, but to build something real. Here's the secret. Understanding what drives men isn't a tool for manipulation. It's a foundation for building. If you know how to value what he offers, recognize his effort, and give him space to feel needed, you'll have by your side a man who's more motivated, present, and loving. Small gestures make a huge difference. Thanking him for something simple, like fixing a light bulb, carries the same weight as supporting him in a bigger win, like a job promotion. What matters is the message. You matter. When a woman understands this, she creates a powerful partnership. He feels proud to stand by her because he knows he's appreciated. And she enjoys a stronger relationship because she understands what fuels him from the inside. The secret lies in balance. It's not about flattery, it's about authenticity. When that happens, the relationship stops being a clash of egos and becomes a shared construction. And here's the real provocation. If you know how to touch these points, wouldn't you have the power to win and keep any man's heart? So tell me, have you taken a moment to compliment the man in your life today? Have you acknowledged the little things he does? Maybe that simple gesture is the difference between a lukewarm relationship and a deep connection. Now, I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you believe men need recognition more or love more? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, and let's keep uncovering together the mysteries of the male mind.